How's it going, everyone? Shifty here, and I'm back with another Destiny 2 video. I've got an ongoing series where I review exotic weapons in PvP, and I recently finished the exotic autos and the exotic pulse rifles. In my last episode I reviewed my first scout rifle, the Polaris Lance, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Symmetry scout rifle that came out in Season of Dawn. If you want to check out any of my other PvP exotic reviews, there will be a link in the description to my playlist. The Symmetry is quite different to the Polaris Lance, and honestly, before I tried it out, I looked at the time to kill and the stats and everything, and I wasn't impressed, and I figured I would be forced to only use it on long range maps. Much to my surprise, I had a really good session playing with the Symmetry on a variety of maps. I was actually shocked. I put it on expecting to not even get decent gameplay with it, and I ended up doing well in several matches and found myself actually enjoying this weapon. I also felt like it could hold its own on some more medium-sized maps, whereas the Polaris Lance almost needed to be used strictly on maps with several long lanes. Anyway, before I continue with my review, if you end up enjoying the video or finding it useful, make sure to like and subscribe. I'd love to have you join my channel. Alright, first of all, let's take a look at the perks on the Symmetry. The first perk here is Hammer Forged Rifling for increased range. Then it's got Particle Repeater, which boosts its stability. This is an interesting perk since it's usually found on fusion rifles. Next is the first unique perk called Dynamic Charge, and this makes it so precision hits build up dynamic charge, which appears on the left side of your screen. Swapping to the Arc Seeker firing mode by holding your reload button increases damage and partially reloads the magazine based on the number of stacks of dynamic charge. On the base weapon, dynamic charge can stack up to 15, and with the catalyst, dynamic charge can stack up to 20. The next perk is Composite Stock for increased stability and handling. Then the main exotic perk, Revolution. This weapon fires in full auto. Holding your reload button swaps it to Arc Seeker mode. Arc Seekers track towards combatants you target. So the gist of the weapon is you want to build up as many stacks of dynamic charge as you can, then swap to the alternate firing mode and hip fire Arc Seekers at your enemy. The Arc Seeker mode is kind of gimmicky, although it can net you some decent kills with high enough stacks of dynamic charge, as you'll see in the video if you stick around for the highlights. I think your best bet to utilize it is to try and play normally and snag as many kills as you can without dying, and then when you hit 10 or more stacks, swap modes and hip fire at enemies you see. Make sure to swap back to the default firing mode when Revolution buff is done. Let's discuss numbers regarding this weapon because I mentioned getting kills, but how good is this weapon at doing so without the gimmicky perk? Well, the damage profile for the Symmetry is 47 per crit and 28 to the body. Unfortunately for the Symmetry, it has one of the worst optimal time to kills at 0.93 seconds with 3 crit and 2 body. The body shot time to kill is decent at 1.4 seconds with 7 body shots. As for the other stats on Symmetry, it has awful range at 28, awful reload speed at 24, the only stats that are on par with the other exotic scouts are the stability at 54 and the aim assist at 75. Meanwhile, it does have the highest mag size at 20, although that's not saying much since it's a rapid fire scout. Let's talk about what I like about this weapon. Despite its slow optimal time to kill, I felt like it performed fairly well, and even though its handling is only slightly better than the Polaris Lance, it felt like it handled quite a bit better. Also, even though Revolution is somewhat gimmicky, it was able to snag me 2 or 3 kills in 15 seconds a couple of times. The range stat is quite low for a scout rifle, but it's still able to keep up its optimal damage at a decent range. I don't recall ever having an issue with damage drop off with this weapon. As for things I didn't like, despite its aim assist stat of 75, this thing can be a body shot machine. Thankfully, the body shot time to kill is somewhat decent on this weapon, or else it would feel absolutely terrible. Polaris Lance has a really low aim assist stat, and I was frequently getting kills with all crits with that one, whereas with Symmetry, very few of my kills were all crits. With the optimal time to kill being 0.93 seconds with 3 crits and 2 body, that wasn't too big of a problem, but it was still a bit off-putting. For being a rapid fire scout, it wouldn't hurt to handle a bit faster so as to make it a bit more useful in the mid-range engagements. As for recommending this weapon, I think I could recommend this as something different to use in casual modes like Control or Classic Mix. I think it can hold its own on most medium and large maps but would struggle on smaller maps. Staying just out of hand cannon and auto rifle range is where you'll see this weapon shine the most. Also, paying attention to the dynamic charge and using Revolution at 10 stacks or more will net you some 2-tap kills with the seeking rounds. In that regard, it could be quite fun to use. With that said, it's simply not going to be a competitive weapon. Given it has such a weak time to kill and it's still a scout rifle, I wouldn't recommend hopping into trials or survival with it. Even more so since dynamic charge stacks wouldn't carry through rounds, so the exotic perks would be nearly useless anyway. Well, that's it for my PvP review of the Symmetry. Make sure to stick around to check out some highlights of my session using it, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I just want to thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Enemy claims zone C. It is lost. Battle is on B, Captain. You have advantage. Down. Tell them to line up fast. You don't let up. Now you're fighting with heart. I could not ask for a better victory. Double down. Yes. 3 down. Zone B captured. You have advantage. Double down. 3 opponents down. Could go your way. Could go theirs. Down. Together as one. Eyes up. 3 minutes left. Call the Praxic Order. Call the Thanatonot. The Jinxin. Double down. B. Captain, you have zone advantage. This is... You have advantage. Double down. Double down. Zone A lost. 3 minutes left. Fight until there's nothing left. Double down.